As we've seen, you can add multiple different displays for a single view. You have a choice of adding one or more pages to a view. You can add what are called attachments, which are additional displays that would display above or below the primary content of a page. You can add blocks. You can also add RSS feeds. Now, when you're adding additional displays, one thing that you need to watch out for is when you assign a setting, do you want the change to apply to all displays for the view, or only for this particular display, overriding the basic setting of the other displays or the prior display? So for virtually every setting that you apply, you'll see a drop-down allowing you to specify whether this change should apply to all displays or only the current block or page or feed or attachment, as the case may be. Let's take a look at this as we create a block display in addition to the page display we already have for our book list. So our book list is currently displaying an unformatted list of teasers. But in addition to this, I want to have a block which displays featured titles in the upper right-hand corner of my page from the same underlying list. So I'm going to go to Structure, Views, and I'll edit my existing book list view. I'm going to add a block to this view. However, I don't want this block to be titled Book List, but Featured Titles. So I'll select this property and say that I want to override the title for this block only. And I'll change the value to Featured Titles. Now when I scroll down to the preview, I see I've updated my title. However, the page display is showing an unformatted list of teasers, and I don't think that's going to work very well for my block. I just want to show title and author. So I'm going to change the format from an unformatted list to an HTML list. But again, I have to be mindful that I only want this change to apply to this block, not all displays. Otherwise, I would be changing the page display as well. I'll apply this change, and I have a set of style options I could configure, for example, changing from an unordered to an ordered list, and other styling changes, but I'll accept everything as is. Now my content is still set to display a teaser, but I don't want that. I want to change this to display specific fields of content, again for this block. I'll click through the styling options for now. And so the Views module does bring up the title field for me. However, in addition to title, I want to display the author name as well. So I'm going to click Add, and I'll locate my author name field. If I had needed to search for it, we know that we could use the jump search box up above. So I'll select the author name field, and again, this is for this block. And in this case, I don't want to have a label on my bullet list, but I do want to look at my settings for multiple fields. I do want to display all the values in the same row, and I'll just use a simple separator, but instead of the default comma, put in a dash, and I will apply this change. So I now have both title and author name appearing for my HTML list, but I don't want to display 10 items. I only want to display 3. Keep it small because it's just a block. So once again, making sure I'm overriding for this block only, I'm going to display a specified number of items rather than the full paged output. And I'll say I want to display 3 items. I'll apply this change. Let's take a look down in the preview. And there we have it. Titles followed by author names. I'll save these changes. Go back out to the main page. And first, I'll note that There's no change to my book list because I only configured these settings for a block, but I need to apply the block to my interface. So I'll go to Structure, Blocks, scroll down, and find my book list block. I'm going to assign that block to my right sidebar, save that change, and then in the right sidebar, I want to make sure that it appears up top. And then I'm also going to configure my block so that it displays only on the front page of my site. I'll save that change, go back out. I now have a featured titles block on the front page of my site, but if I click through to the full book list, it disappears because here it could be seen as redundant.